Gunners trust only one ally, their powerful transforming gun. They do not care about good and evil. All that truly matters is their weapon, and they have no qualms about putting it to use. Their transforming gun can take on many forms. The weapon's machine gun mode is capable of mowing down entire battlefields. Heaving the gun onto their shoulder, the hero converts the weapon into a plasma rifle, blasting their enemies with superheated matter. And for those who underestimate the power of long-range technology, the gunner can bring out the heavy artillery. Setting the gun on its mount and sending missile barrages raining down upon unsuspecting enemy ranks. The gunner is deadly at long distances, but even at close range they still pose a great threat thanks to their flamethrower, allowing the gunner to face attackers head-on with jets of liquid death. In tough situations where gunners find themselves surrounded by enemies, they can instantly teleport to a safe distance and fall back on their decisive failsafe. An orbital strike that will devastate all foes unfortunate enough to be caught in the massive bombardment. The gunner is a ranged, high-tech warrior who is a great choice for fans of big guns, area of effect damage, and active combat. Use the accuracy and skill of this weapons expert to gain the upper hand and wreak havoc in the ranks of your opponents. Want to know more? Visit...
Alright, what an awesome trailer, isn't it? Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Michael Dunaway here, the community manager for Skyforge. And welcome to our inaugural stream here on twitch.tv. This is the first one we're doing in-house. Glad to finally be able to show you guys a little bit of the Skyforge gameplay here after so long. I know a lot of you have been waiting and expecting it, so really excited to show you guys what we have in store for today. Now joining me today is Rubber Duck and Lord Deslayer, otherwise known as Eric DeMille, our Obsidian development director, and then Lord Deslayer is played by Drew Hahn, who's our lead community manager here at Mine.com for Skyforge. So hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Hey Michael, doing good.
Great.
Hey, Michael, I'm doing good.
You guys ready to play some Skyforge?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Great, glad to hear it. All right, so first things first, what's Skyforge about, right? So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Skyforge, Skyforge is a free-to-play sci-fi fantasy MMORPG. It's being developed by Alod's team in conjunction with Obsidian Entertainment, and we're nearing a release here in 2015. So coming up soon, you guys are going to be able to play Skyforge for yourself for free. And we wanted to get in and show you guys a little bit of what Skyforge is about. All right, so first things first here. As you can see, I'm on my character here, Sir Dance-A-Lot. That's my character name. I'm currently as a cryomancer, but we're going to be playing as a gunner primarily today. However, I just want to kind of go through a little bit of the quick sort of fundamental components to playing Skyforge and sort of the backstory with Skyforge. So in Skyforge, as a player, you take on the role as an immortal hero. You've been bestowed the ability to be immortal, and you're working towards becoming a god, an outright god in Skyforge. And to do that, you're going to have to gain a lot of followers and do a lot of mighty deeds as a deity in order to sort of show that you have the power and the strength to become a god in Skyforge. Now, on this planet that we're on a planet called Aelion. This planet in and of itself used to be guarded by an elder god. At some point in the past, this elder god was actually disappeared, ceased to be around, and for that reason, the planet is now under attack, under siege, by a bunch of different sort of rival elder gods and their armies and factions. So as an immortal, you're sort of tasked with protecting Aelion in place or in lieu of the elder god who's gone missing. And you're sort of building up towards becoming this, divine being, this ultimate god, if you will. And in order to sort of help the local inhabitants, the followers, if you will, spread across Aelion, you're going to be using what's called the Divine Observatory. So as you can see here, this giant glowing circular globe here in the middle, this is the Divine Observatory. This acts as sort of like the centralized hub, if you will, for all the immortals to group up in one central location and to sort of see what is currently ongoing on Aelion. Any sort of problems, any invasionary forces they need to deal with, etc. This is what the Divine Observatory acts as. It's sort of like a first response system, if you will. So if we kind of just roll up to this right here and hit spacebar, you're going to be able to see a pretty detailed view of the world map, get a glimpse at Aelion itself, and as you can see here, there's all these different nodes, these different adventures that are spread across the globe here that you can sort of tackle. So this kind of gives you a bird's eye view, if you will, of all the different ongoing conflicts across Aelion. These are places that the local inhabitants need your help as an immortal, and so you can kind of pick and choose which adventures you want to go on first. In Skyforge, we really want to give players the opportunity to choose what kind of content they want to tackle. So instead of forcing everybody to do a specific type of content, we give them options to do solo content, group content, large-scale PvE later on in the game, PvP, of course. You have a pretty good amount of options to choose from in terms of how you want to progress your character. And all of this contributes towards your overall prestige, which is how you sort of define your character's power. There's no levels in Skyforge. It's all based around a prestige level, which if you guys want a really simple comparison, it's almost as if a gear score, if you will. So to define how powerful you are as an immortal working towards becoming a god, you're going to look at your prestige level. So I have a prestige currently of 1874. It's pretty low, actually. We've only been playing for a few hours, so this is pretty early on in the game, so you're not going to see like the full blown total progression, if you will, in some of the late game content available in Skyforge. That's going to come in future live streams. But as you can see, 1874 prestige, and we're looking at the Divine Observatory. In the bottom left, we have what's called the Tactical Situation Update. So every 40 minutes or so, this entire map resets or revamps itself, and you have access to a bunch of different rewards or resources that you can gain from the available adventures here. So you're always sort of able to go back and do previous adventures for new rewards. It kind of gives you an incentive to do some of the content you've already passed. And the content itself scales as well, so you're always facing off content that's sort of relevant to your power progression level. So in terms of what you can actually gain from these different adventures here, an easy way to sort of break it down is by looking here on the right-hand side where we have what are called sparks. So there's three main progression currencies or resources that you can gain, if you will. Sparks of Destruction, Sparks of Balance, and Sparks of Creation. And you can kind of see which of the adventures here on the map give what rewards by looking at the little icon that appears over the actual adventure itself. So an easy way to look at all of this is by hitting the bottom right-hand corner. There's a nice little sort of overview list that you can give or you can pull up. And this overview list just really makes it easy to say, hey, I want to do solar adventures or I want to do PvP. And you can break down what's currently available based on these categories here. So if you look at solo adventures here, for example, you have Factory 501, Port Nuri, Oki Island. All of these have this small little resource displayed in the bottom right-hand corner, which sort of tells you what you're going to gain from that particular adventure just by completing it. So if I wanted to say do Power Facility, I would get what's called Sparks of Transgression, which is a special resource to use for unlocking additional classes. We'll talk about that a little in future live streams. But typically you're going to look for Sparks of Creation and Sparks of Destruction and then Sparks of Balance. And so I'm like, all right, I will do, for example, Kairos here, and I will gain 48 Sparks of Balance, at least 48 Sparks of Balance from completing that. And then you can use those sparks to actually progress your character in the Ascension Atlas. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Ascension Atlas. Before we jump in, we're going to do one of these adventures here as a group of 3. But we'll talk a little bit about the progression system in Skyforge. You remember I'm playing as currently the Cryomancer here. And if I hit K, I'm able to bring up what's called the Ascension Atlas. And if you look at the Ascension Atlas, it's sort of a widespread network of nodes that allow you to sort of see your overall progressionary paths for your class, as well as progressionary paths for other classes. So for the Cryomancer here, it starts off pretty simple. You start off right about here, And you gain additional abilities by unlocking them using resources. So if we look here, you'll be like, okay, in order to gain some bonus stamina, some stats for my character, I'll need to use some sparks of transgression here, or sorry, the sparks of creation rather. And as you notice, each one of these nodes will give you a particular bonus or sometimes even an ability. Other ones will give you talents or passives that you can slot in as well. So you get some options there for progressing your character. And it's fairly linear for each class to start with. Kind of gives it a simple beginning there to kind of get acclimated to your class. But as you continuously progress, as you can see here, and you get into some of the later progressionary points for a particular class, you'll see, or you'll notice it splits off. And you have a sort of a lot of variety in terms of your options of what you can choose for progressing that individual character. And this is just, remind you, this is just one character, one form of progression, and it goes well beyond this. If we sort of go and look at it from a more top-down level, there's the secondary level of the Ascension Atlas. So what we were looking at before was the Ascension Atlas specifically for the Cryomancer, but now we're looking at the Ascension Atlas level for the entire progression of your character overall. So Skyforge, unlike most MMORPGs, Skyforge allows you to play all of the classes in the game simultaneously, so you can easily swap between whatever classes you've actually unlocked and then progress each of those classes individually. So you have the ability to, use one character for a long extended period of time, unlock another class, and then continuously progress that character without having to feel like you start back from level 1. A lot of the progression, a lot of the sort of nodes that you'll unlock will be able to be applied to all of your characters. So things like your stamina boost, some of your damage abilities, or sorry, your damage stats rather, those will transfer in between characters, allowing you the flexibility of just moving between different classes and not feeling like you have to start over from scratch, if you will. So right here, what we're looking at, these are the starting 3 classes on the upper level of Ascension Atlas. You can kind of see them by their icon. We have the Lightbinder, the Paladin, and then the Cryomancer, which is what I was playing as originally. Once you've progressed through this Ascension Atlas, you're going to go into this top-down sort of higher level Ascension Atlas level. And it's here that you'll be able to gain additional sort of passive and bonuses that apply to all of your characters. And you can work towards unlocking other classes altogether, more advanced classes, and they all have their different mechanics that are at play. So we're going to be playing mainly as the Gunner today. So if you were naturally going to progress as the Gunner in Skyforge, you would start off as one of these initial classes here, and then you would work your way around the Ascension Atlas, choosing whichever class or mapping out whichever class you want to work towards. In the case of the Gunner is actually located over here, so you'd have to work towards each of these nodes, and as you can see, there's quite a few, so you have quite a lot of progression options in terms of choices of what you work towards, and eventually you'll make your way over to the Gunner class and unlock those with those sparks of transgression, which we talked about earlier. And then inside the Gunner class, I'll go ahead and double click on that. I'll go ahead and zoom out so you can see my overall progression. This is the class that I progressed in the most currently. And you'll notice that I have a totally separate node or atlas layout here for the Gunner with different abilities and different passives that I can gain access to. I most recently gained access to my ultimate ability, which is Orbital Strike, which if you guys saw in the trailer, calls down a giant beam from the sky and just does massive amounts of damage in an AoE area, as well as stunning the enemies as well. But I can choose to continue on progressing and say get plus 10 to my might here just by saying, all right, I need 125 of these sparks of destruction. Currently I have a lot because we're on GM characters here. And I'm like, all right, I can go ahead and progress there. I can double click one of these nodes and gain that new power, new might in this case. And then we can look at the next one, which is bonus strength. I gain that from using sparks of balance. And so as you continuously progress, you'll just gain these sparks and use these for these specific nodes in order to continue your progression there. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and get ready to jump into a match. Before we begin, though, I'm going to go ahead and have one of the moderators in chat dish out a key to start this off with a bang. I know we promised some beta keys, so one of the moderators there is going to take an opportunity to drop a key in the chat. It's first come, first serve. Later on, we'll continuously give out keys throughout the stream. And then we're also going to be giving out keys for good questions that you guys ask at the end when we do our Q&A. So be on the lookout for that and make sure to stay tuned for all those key giveaways. Guys, are you guys ready for the actual match itself?
Yep.
The adventure? All right, let's get in here. Let's go ahead and change over to the correct class. switching classes is really easy in Skyforge. Right now I'm as a Cryomancer, like I said, but in order to switch class, I'll just ring open the Ascension Atlas, choose the class I want, which in this case is the Gunner, and then hit Change Class, get a nice little animation there, and bam! Next thing you know, I'm in the Gunner class, which I have to say, the Gunner armor looks amazing. Pretty awesome there. Accompanying me, I have Rubber Duck, who's playing as the Berserker. Get a little bit of an early tease of the Berserker, which we've had a reveal for. And then we've got Lord Deathslayer on the Lightbinder, which is sort of like an oxymoron. You're the Lord of Death, yet you're playing one of our support classes that heals everybody up. But it should be pretty nice.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll use the Berserker or use the a Paladin or something. We'll see.
Yeah, hey, the Lightbinder has its own death-like abilities. It's got a lot of beams, a lot of stuff. You get to see how it works there. Lightbinder, of course, is our version. You know, Skyforge doesn't have a healing class or healing classes, if you will. They have supportive classes, which provide things like active damage mitigation, damage buffs to your allies. In the case of Lightbinder, you can even revive people in combat who have fallen. So there is some active forms of support. It's not merely just, hey, do the amount, the most amount of damage you can in the least amount of time. You do have a little bit of flexibility in terms of supporting your allies, and that definitely will come into play later on towards the end game when you're doing some of the larger instances and raids, and getting into Pantheon Wars, which we'll talk about in the future as well. All right, so going in here, let's go ahead and pick up our first adventure. We're going to be going through the power facility today, and the power facility is located in a large sort of power generator on Aelion. This is a place where a lot of the electricity is generated for the planet. Keep in mind, this is a sci-fi fantasy MMORPG, so we're set somewhat in the future with somewhat futuristic technology, but still incorporating a little bit of those fantasy elements in. But this power facility in general has been overrun by what we call mechanoids, and mechanoids are the remnants of a army that was sent here a long time ago by another god that was since defeated, and another elder god that was defeated, and sort of the mechanoids are the remnants of his army that are left over on this planet. So they're still around, causing problems and mucking around. So we have to kind of come in here and deal with them. So jumping in there, this is a solo instance. The instances are typically tuned between 1 and 3 players. You can complete them alone, but of course, as you get more players, they can come in here with you as well and tackle these, and everybody will gain respective rewards. It's not just the person who actually started the actual adventure itself. Okay, so everybody is in. We're good to go. As you can see here, Lord Deathslayer is already getting us set up with some additional bonus damage. Eric, do you want to take a second here to sort of talk about some of the unique features with our monsters in Skyforge? I know we just decimated those guys right there.
Yeah, so when you've got super powerful characters, you're going to mow through them. So each of the monsters you see will have an icon over its head. That'll tell you a bit about its role, whether it's a caster, it's going to support its allies, right? Whether it's going to have the ability to, heal or cause additional damage, things like that, summon adds, whatnot, right? We've also got a DPS icon you'll see from time to time, and tanks, which, even if you got something that is not going to be particularly big threat to you, but it's a little ankle biter, going to come up, pound on you, absorb a lot of damage. And here's sort of your standard trash mob icons. Give you a good indication of what the cluster composition is. We like to group mobs, make the fights a bit more interesting for players in different scenarios, right? Here you see, right, we've got 3 different indicators here. You've got a boss up ahead here. You've got a caster or a support mob, and then you got a straight up DPS, right? We can pick which one to sort of take out first, which one we decide is important to us.
Typically the Oculent Focuser here is going to be the mob that you want to take out the quickest. The Focuser has a ability that allows him to sort of blind anyone who gets caught in his little blast there, which makes it very difficult because it actually blinds your screen. Secondarily, we have the Secular Shooter here. And as the Secular Shooter, it does a lot of burst damage. We're playing a little bit over-geared for the current content, so damage isn't quite what you would expect at the appropriate level. But the Secular Shooter here just does a lot of burst damage to targets. And so typically you're going to want to take out these side monsters before you actually take on the boss. So I'm just going to focus on that, and I'll show off the finishing move there. You didn't quite get to see it as much. But every class has its own unique finishing move. One of you has to jump over on that node right there.
You got it?
Yep, I got it there.
I got the other one.
All right, Mike. Apparently my volume's pretty low on the Twitch, so
See if we
might
can.
need to have you take care of introducing any new creature
Sure.
mechanics going forward.
Sure. So we got to fix
works
the volume here. Looks like Skyforge got a little bit low there after that. We'll fix that right after this boss fight here. So this is the Armored Sizer Bastion, one of the introductory bosses in this area. He's fairly simple in mechanics. He's got a telegraph attack that places an area of effect on the ground that you have to stand out of. There we got the Lightbinder doing his beam of death there. Lightbinder isn't just about supporting. You can do a lot of damage as that, which is quite good. So there's the AoE, and if I actually stood in that, it would do quite a lot of damage. Secondarily, he places a shield among himself, and you have to stand, as you saw there, on these two spots on the ground in order to break that shield. Oh, it actually just busted me up in the air. So by standing on this, oh, I stood in it right as the beam hit me. You need to
watch out for that.
Be careful here. Which actually, gives me a good chance to show off a little bit of the healing mechanics. So we mentioned that there wasn't any healing classes in Skyforge, but that doesn't say that there isn't any healing altogether. When you damage a monster enough, in this case a boss, if you will, when you damage a boss enough, he'll drop occasionally a healing orb, and you have to step on that healing orb in order to regain some of your HP. So in the case of all three of us here, there's only going to be one healing orb per, sort of damage interval, which means that we have to sort of decide who needs that healing orb the most, and then opt to give that healing orb to that individual player. So I'm going to switch over to my last mode here, which I actually wasn't able to do that. Let's see here. There we go. So my last mode here, I showed you as the gunner, I have a gun that transforms into various modes. We're not doing any damage to him because I got to step in this thing.
Get on those.
There we go. All right. But as the gunner here, I have 3 different modes I can switch my weapon into. So the first mode that you saw was a minigun mode. It's great for clearing trash, and it does a lot of high damage in the area of effect. I even have some talent and skills slotted in, which allow me to do extra damage in area of effect, so I'm kind of designed for that. But then that over time will actually generate heat, and you have to use heat in the secondary mode, which I have my weapon set up in right now, which is the basically the plasma rifle, which uses the heat from the minigun to expel a lot of high burst damage to singular targets. But I have a couple of combo abilities as well. All right, so we just defeated that boss. It's fairly simple here. I'm actually going to really quickly go in and change the audio setting just really quick to see if I can get it to boost up. So just one moment.
Time to give away a beta key too, isn't it?
Yeah, let's give away a beta key during this time.
Boss.
All right, so moderators, go ahead and drop another beta key in there. There, we should actually hear some audio now. And shouldn't be so quiet there.
All right, yeah, hopefully Drew and I's volume is back up to where it needs to be.
All right. Should be good, guys. Let us know. And we'll go ahead and jump back in here. So we got another beta key going out. So we just defeated that boss. I actually got a reward for defeating that boss. Most bosses, or actually all bosses, will give you some type of reward for completing it. That could be an item, such as, in this case, a shield, which is used for the paladin. And as you can see, the shield will have its own prestige level and stamina that it provides, as well as sometimes they'll have a secondary effect. So in this case, the shield will give me an additional effect on one of my abilities when I use that specific shield itself. Other things
Stop
that'll
talking. I want to get my Leroy on.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go down here.
Now talk. I'm going.
All right. So you jumped in there. This is another case of one of the special monsters. So you see the shield guy there. He acts as basically a tank, if you will. So he'll actually get in people's faces and disable them for a certain amount of time, which is typically why you want to take one of those out first. These other guys here, these secular interceptors, if one of those players actually stands in it for too long, it'll take that player and teleport them somewhere else. This is much more difficult at a lower prestige level and by yourself. But with 3 players, it makes it a little bit easier there. And then I got my finishing strike off one more. Why don't one of you show off your finishing moves as well? So as the gunner, my finishing move allows me to basically send out homing missiles.
Just cut him up. Sorry.
That's all right. The Berserker's just crazy. Look at that. But yeah, every class has their own finishing maneuver. I'm going to go ahead and use my orbital bombardment here. Just to get a lot of AoE damage off there.
Jeez.
It's complete overkill. You don't have to use that on those guys. Those are just easy little trash mobs. But the Berserker and the Gunner AoE, those things just outright get demolished there. All right, we got a little bit of platforming. Oh, a little bit of a platforming element going here.
Oh no, I fell.
Oh, you died too. How do you die from such a small drop? Okay.
That's okay, I'm back.
All right, let's come over there.
All
keep
right.
dropping over.
Oh, I still gotta make it.
All right, I'm going.
All right, you're going. All right, it's all right. So we can take this out ourselves. I'll show you guys. So my right click here is a sort of AoE spread. I'm able to use my minigun here, and you notice it's actually building up the heat, which I'm at max heat.
One of those casters dropped down a healing thing. I took it out.
Okay, I think that's the scissor mender. So the scissor mender will get in your face and actually put down healing wards, if you will. They'll also sometimes call additional monsters, depending on the mob type. Go ahead and finish this one off here.
I finished it first.
Oh, you got it, nice.
Ah.
So I've actually ran out or accumulated too much heat. And when you have too much heat, your weapon, your primary mode will fire a lot slower. As you can see, I'm not firing as quickly with my minigun. So I can swap over to my plasma rifle here, and I can put down a distortion field, which will deal damage over time. If I choose to shoot into this distortion field, it will reduce the amount of time the field is up, but it will deal sort of like a chain reaction to all the enemies in that field and deal additional damage. So you have a choice. You can either choose to lay down that field and act as crowd control, because it'll slow enemies within. I'll go ahead and swap over to my rocket launcher here to finish this guy off.
Oh, I beat two.
It's all right. It's all right. What do we got here? Got a topographic map, which is another resource used for your followers, I believe, which we'll talk about in a future stream. All right. So yeah, plasma rifle, you can put down the field. It does AoE damage or slows, and you can choose to do more damage or just keep it up as a sort of suppression field. I have a fourth mode, which I'll show off here, which allows me to basically use a flamethrower and deal high amounts of damage to targets in sort of an AoE cone in front of me. Gotta watch out there for the secular interceptor there, trying to pick enemies up there. I'll go and swap back over to my plasma rifle. My right click on my plasma rifle, so both my left click and my right click have their own unique abilities. A left click is just sort of a standard plasma rifle blast. It uses that heat that we've accumulated. My right click is a beam, which will deal damage to every enemy in a line in front of it. So you have a couple options of how you want to deal with the enemies, and it all incorporates, or it all just depends on you know, the composition or the makeup of the group of enemies in front of you. All right, let's come up here. So we got the reinforced secular hornet here. This is probably one of my favorite boss fights in this area, just because of how ridiculous it gets eventually. But this guy here has some interesting abilities. He does sort of like a widespread beam that you have to watch out for. Sometimes it will hit you. It does quite a lot of damage, but you'll see here in a little bit when he gets into his secondary mode here. All right, so we've gone ahead and used up all that steam. Oh, nicked me just a little bit.
I'm failing at holding threat. You guys are putting out a ton of damage.
It's all right. It's all right. Just keep using our blast here. Oh, there we go. So here's his secondary mode. So when he's in this mode, he puts out these large fields, and these deal a high amount of damage to you, so you got to keep moving. Now, as a gunner, I can choose to actually hit my 4 key, which is completely, I can rebind that to any key I want, and then teleport to that beacon. So if I was in a little bit of a sticky situation, I could place down that beacon.
Ow, damage.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. We got there here. The light binder also has this as well, which if I... Oh, it already went away. But if I was to click on that, it would teleport me to the light binder. So if I was in a sticky situation, I would be able to quickly get to the light binder for assistance there.
Dodge fail.
That's all right.
Yeah, I dropped a few of those for you guys during that sequence, but nobody took advantage.
Yeah, I was just hitting him.
I had my own. I had my own teleportation. No need for the light binders currently. The gunner has a nice mix of both. Oh, I totally chose the wrong moment to use my rocket launcher.
Oh!
The gunner has a nice.
I got to teleport up for you guys.
There you go. Where is it at? I don't see it. Oh,
I stole the health yummy.
that's all right. We're cool. We're cool.
I just dropped another one. Oh.
I've done this instance so many times now. I'm like a ballerina. I can just easily go around these things here. All right, so we're down to the last bar. I haven't really had to use too much of my rockets here. Again, the rockets are, you know, it sort of puts you in a stationary position here, which isn't the best for a boss like this, especially when those orbs come out. But we just wrecked that guy. We're like way too high. All right, see if I can grab this now. Oh, so yeah, there we go. I picked up the light binder's teleportation there and was teleported immediately to that. All right, so we got the ring of strength, and that is something that we can use. I can choose to swap that in if I wanted to. If I go to my character really quickly here, Oh, there we go. There we go. If we go to my character here and go to equipment, You'll see that this is my current loadout. So I've got my main weapon, which is the hand cannon, the secondary, which is my cartridge that goes in the hand cannon. And then we've got a set of rings here, which allow me to sort of customize what kind of damage I do. So there's quite a lot of different types of damage you can do as a player in Skyforge, and it's all based around how you want to tailor your character. So you can do a lot of high burst damage, you can do damage that's based on critting a lot. There's also impulse damage, which is a specific bonus damage that's applied to one of your abilities. It's separate from something like crit or something like bonus based damage, etc. And it kind of gives you the ability to have like a really strong ability out the gate if you want sort of that bursty style gameplay. So all of these rings are saying that I have better rings available to me, and I can choose to swap out. Like this ring currently is set as a ring of luck, which gives me luck and spirit and increases my critical chance by 1.5%. I can opt to swap that out for strength, which increases my strength and spirit as well, but gives me a health bonus at 2.3%. So again, it's all based on just sort of what style of gameplay you're going for with your character, and allows you to sort of give you a little bit of flexibility there in terms of how you build out your stats. All right, let's go ahead and continue up here. What do we got?
How about we give out another beta key right now?
Sure, let's do it.
Another boss.
Yeah,
well,
let's give out
this mob first.
We can have someone give those out as we do this here. So we've got a couple of these smaller mobs. The really small ones that have the 3 little diamonds above their head. Those are very simple to take out. They don't have a lot of health at all, but they act as sort of like pack mentality mobs. So if they group up on you and you don't deal with them very quickly, they can do a lot of damage, accumulative. So you need to make sure to take those out very quickly here. So we've got basically some of the best AoE classes right now in this instance. So we're kind of like decimating these guys pretty effectively. But again, this is something that normally would be faced at a lower prestige level, and sometimes it's just 1 player, not 3. But this next boss, this is something that definitely is very useful to have 3 players on, because it can get really tricky here. We're going to come up into this mini boss here, which is the Secular Sentry Gatekeeper. He's flanked by 2 Scissor Menders, so I'm going to want to start with taking out these Scissor Menders here, make sure that he doesn't get any heals off. Actually, 3 Scissor Menders, I didn't notice it.
Yeah. Put up a shield around you. Oh, maybe I didn't.
There we go. There's the shield. So the Lightbinder using some shields there to help out the Berserker there, who's taking the brunt of the damage. Go ahead and swap over back to
Failed to get out of the AoE.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna rain down destruction from above. There's some of the
always good.
The lock-on rocket launchers. Oh, need to get out of the way there just a second. Just a last second there.
There's help sitting around here, guys.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well right now. No need.
We got him.
When we had the our test run of this, it didn't go quite as smoothly at all. There was quite a lot more damage being dealt to all of us here. We're doing pretty great now right now. We're gonna take out this Secular Sentry Gatekeeper pretty easily.
Yeah, well, I'm also giving you guys a lot of damage buffs right now too. So.
Oh yeah. So the little orb that you see above our head, that's the damage buff from the Lightbinder, which gives you sort of a stacking damage buff to all of your attacks for a certain amount of time. So here's the Special Retherius Chaos Orb, or it's basically a giant Rubik Cube. You know, it acts as a modular Rubik Cube here, and it's got a ton of health, 3.1 million health, 10 bars of health basically. So you can see that with 3 players, we're not really doing too much damage here. So there's a mechanic we're missing, and that mechanic is actually right over here. So Eric, do you want to drop in that?
I'm going.
All right. So Eric's dropping into a stationary turret here. The turret does actually a high amount of damage and reduces the damage, or sorry, reduces the sort of
pisses him off. He's attacking me.
Yeah.
That damage, that beam that he does a huge amount of damage. Yeah, to anybody who's taking it. So you got to make sure.
He's angry. I pissed him off. Does
one
of you guys want to take the turret?
I'll take the turret this time. So I'll drop in the turret, and I got a line up here underneath him there.
We got a mob. Let's take him out, Eric.
There we go.
All right, where they at? Oh, I got him.
So those monsters, you'll see there's a pack of mobs that come in. If those mobs get to me, they'll blow up the turrets and knock me down for a few seconds, and then the actual chaos cube will come after me. There we go. I think we wiped on this the first time we were going through this. It was just that much damage coming out.
It's because we didn't realize that those little mob guys destroyed the turret.
Yep. So he's going after me now. He's going in. Oh no! The beam.
Did you get out of there?
I did, but then he immediately went on the beam on me, so
All right.
I had to drop out there.
I got it. Yeah, I'm in it.
All right, I'll watch the ads. Here they come.
Drop down. Oh, gotta move. Beam. All right.
Oh, I
So
got
here
a
comes
shot
the beams here. All right. So take those
Alright,
guys out.
ads are dead.
Oh, grab this health
You're
orb there.
still
There
angry
we
with
go.
Mike.
It's on me, guys. I can't get away from it.
Alright, Drew. You want to fire?
Drop down some AoE damage there.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh, here come another bunch of ads.
All right. So one thing that's really great about having the Berserker. Oh, it's gonna get to him. Okay, now you got
I
it.
got him. Or
The-
somebody did.
Oh,
The
he's
Berserker is
actually-
great to have on this fight because his whirlwind
get
will
out of
actually collect
Yeah, I already
mobs
moved.
together.
Alright, I'm on the turret.
Yeah. The Berserker's whirlwind attack will collect mobs in an AoE around himself, so it's really easy for grouping all these guys together. We'll let a couple of them go through this time, so
Oh,
we
he
see actually what
splayed out on
happens. Oh, no. You took it out before I was able to. I was gonna
He's
say you
out.
can let him
Fire
actually hit
again.
you. Come on here. 4 bars left, 1.2 million HP. It's easier when it's 3 people and you can actually like swap out between who's on the turret and who's getting focused.
Yeah, it's tough when you maintain all the threat.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get some flameage going on, some flame on. I have a ability here which will increase the amount of damage that I do with my
I think I
plasma
pissed him
rifle.
off.
Oh,
I'm
he's
running.
coming for you.
Yep, running.
He's coming for you. I'll get on here. Drop down. There we go. So knocked off his damage shield there.
Yo, I just ran right through the beam, beating up on the ads.
Oh, Ad's gonna hit me. Oh no, he got pulled in
Got
at the
it.
last second.
Nope. Get it.
Oh, nice.
Die.
Nice. Oh, he's right on me.
Uses execution move there on him.
Oh yeah, I'll try not to lead the beam right onto you.
Yeah, please don't. Oh, he's coming.
Still running. Ow. Not that bad.
There we go. 1 bar left here. 240k.
All right, more ads.
Let's see if we can. I'll finish him off here with. We'll do a beam of death here in the middle. Oh,
Whoa.
I did no damage because his damage mitigation came up at the last second.
Oh,
All
no.
right.
Alright, I got it. I'm on.
All right. He's still pissed at me.
That's all right. We'll move to the rockets here. Rockets deal the most damage with the for the gunner. Oh, is he down?
I think we
Oh
have to-
yeah, there he is.
All right, victory.
There we go. Let's go ahead and quest completed. You took down the rebellious mechanoids and protected the planet's major energy source there. So it shows you I got a B for that. There are other side objectives you could have completed, like finishing strikes during deal the required number of finishing strikes during the adventure. Those are like the executionary moves. And Orbs of
Yeah.
Mastery act as like secrets that you can find throughout the match, or throughout the map rather, that will allow you to sort of gain additional bonus rewards at the end.
I think it was Drew falling in a hole that ruined our.
That would ruin our perfect thing, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that,
I blame
guys.
you.
Got some
I thought
rewards
I had
there.
to jump right down, but no, apparently not.
All right. So as you see, that was fairly short. It's about 20 minutes or so. By the way, let's go ahead and give out another key since we killed that boss finally. Let's drop another key in there. So that instance was about 15-20 minutes, even with 3 people. With Skyforge, we're trying to offer you a wide variety of content. Not if you look at a traditional MMORPG. A lot of that, dungeon content and stuff will take multiple hours to complete. And we understand that a lot of players don't have that time to invest anymore. They only have, 45 minutes to an hour max. And they want to get in, they want to feel like they're progressing, and then they want to get out if they have to go do something. So we are trying to offer players the opportunity to have a wide variety of content that, takes very small amounts of time, PvP and some of the solo instance PvE, as well as content that takes a little bit longer in group, scenarios with the Pantheon Wars and raids and invasions that we'll get into in later streams. But that is going to be just a quick little introduction to one of the solo adventures. I'll take a little moment here really quickly to talk a little bit more about the gunner. If we go back to the gunner screen here and look at the abilities, as you notice, I was using what's called full auto and rapid fire for my primary left and right click mouse button for the machine gun. And then I have secondary abilities that are sort of based around all of the modes. So I can use what's called a accelerated heat exchange, which gives me additional damage at the cost of generating more heat quickly. So you don't really get as much out of the machine gun mode, but your plasma rifle mode will deal a lot of extra damage. You also get something like the power barrier, which acts as a shield, and if it's broken, it'll knock down enemies and slow them for a certain amount of time. The teleport beacon, which you saw on the stream, which allows me to teleport around. And then there's the plasma field, which I showed off. It allows you to shoot beams into to deal a lot of chaotic damage. And then, of course, Orbital Strike, the big beam that came down from the sky. So these talents are talents that you unlock through the Ascension Atlas. The ones I currently have sort of slotted in is Experimental Fuel, which gives me additional burning damage on my Fire Blast, which is, of course, the Flamethrower. I also have Residual Charge, which, again, augments one of my abilities in the Plasma mode. And then Entropic Factor, which allows me to reduce the cooldown of Accelerated Heat Exchange by about 20 seconds there. So I'm able to use it much faster and able to sort of use my plasma rifle more for additional damage. So you can sort of build, you can see all the different talents here. You can sort of build your gunner or whatever class you're playing around your current style of play. So if you like to use machine gun more, you can use skills and talents that are more oriented towards that. If you're more of a PvPer, for example, the gunner has an ability, where is it at here, called Chip of Self-Destruction, where after 3 seconds, the gunner's death, in say a PvP environment, it'll deal explosive damage to in an AoE around the player itself. So if you're in sort of like a 3v3 scenario, you get taken out, you can deal explosive damage to any enemies who remain around you. And then later on, you'll see that we have other abilities that we'll be able to unlock as we continuously progress in the Ascension Atlas. So you're able to see, you know, all of your different abilities. We have them broken up nicely here on the right-hand side based on like combo abilities, as well as abilities that are more for defensive purposes or supportive purposes. So you can really easily ascertain what you have at your disposal for your class that's currently equipped. All right, so one thing really quickly we'll go into in the equipment. I talked a little bit about swapping out equipment here to, you know, better improve your stats. One thing you can also do is improve your overall equipment using these ritual ornaments and weapon upgrades. So these are things you get fairly early on, and you can have better versions of these as you continuously progress, but it essentially allows you to use what are called enhancement stones to upgrade all of your items altogether. So some MMOs have direct enhancement, where you can enhance a particular item to multiple stats. With these enhancement stones, you're able to enhance the overall capabilities of all of a particular type of item. So in this case, this ritual ornament will enhance all of my rings by spending these great enhancement stones to upgrade. And by upgrading these, I get additional prestige, as you can see there. I also get bonuses to all of my rings. So all my rings will provide me now an additional 10 strength, 8 valor, 8 luck, and 8 spirit. And as I continuously upgrade these further until it eventually progresses to a new rank, I'll get more and more additional bonus stats. And this is completely independent of what rings I slot in here. So I can have different rings slotted in here, and all of those rings will get those bonuses. So it's not like you spend all this time upgrading one particular item just to have a new item unlocked and suddenly you're back at square one. All of your items will gain the benefits from these upgrades that you get through the ritual ornament and the weapon upgrade, and, you know, this additional upgrade as well. And you get those enhancement stones, I should mention, by basically taking apart items you no longer need. So I'm not going to use this sword, for example. If I right click on it, I can hit disassemble, and by disassembling it, I also get a enhancement stone. These are also purchasable in the shop for in-game currency, not cash up currency or anything like that. So if you have some extra currency lying around, you can also just purchase them in the shop interface, which we'll show off in a future live stream here. And there's different variations of enhancement stones. So later on in the game, you'll have better enhancement stones because you'll have better quality equipment, and you want to get them to, you know, higher levels of upgrades, so you can get the most out of them, if you will. But all right, let's go ahead, goes ahead, and that sort of gives you the overview there of the gunner class, as well as some of the introductory mechanics in Skyforge. Eric or Drew, do you guys have anything to add before we move on to the Q&A session?
Not off the top of my head. Let's jump into Q&A.
All right, so let's go ahead and get some Q&A going in here. We got a lot of people in chat right now talking it up, which is good. So let's see here. One question we have from Tempest Vector. He says, what are the main forms of currency? Well, one of the ones that we talked about initially, if you came in a little bit late, were the 3 types of sparks. Which, just to show you guys, I can go ahead and go back to the Ascension Atlas here. And while I'm doing this, Drew or Eric, if you guys want to pull out another question here, So we can get on to the next one. But the three main types of resources you have are the Sparks of Destruction, Sparks of Creation, and Sparks of Balance. So these are how you're going to progress your character specifically. Outside of that, there's also class-specific currencies, such as the Gunner Evolutionary Points. These are based on a specific class. So these, in this case of the Gunner Evolution Points, these are things that you just gain from progressing through an instance or in an open world zone. They just drop and you can pick them up. And it's sort of like an in-between currency. So if you don't have enough, say, Sparks of Creation to unlock a node, you're able to use some of these Gunner Evolutionary Points to gain some additional, leeway there. You don't have to necessarily use all of your Sparks of Creation or all of your Destructionary Points to do that.
So, Mike, if you want to jump over to the character panel, you can show off a few of the other currencies that players will see in the upcoming CBT builds, the different monies, the credits, the Ascension Atlas currencies, the sparks you've already talked about, rarities, different rare currencies that are used for either rare items in the marketplace, consumables and currencies you pick up for managing your order, things like that. So when people get in the beta, they'll be able to play around with these things. Obviously, we're doing a lot to tune these numbers right now, get them where they feel right for us. But yeah, it's not a simple answer to just we have 3 or 4 different kinds of currencies. A lot of different currencies used for a lot of different parts of the games. Interesting ways to manage those. So you're not just stuck with kind of grinding out one form of currency.
All right, you get some flexibility there.
Yep.
All right. What's
I've got
another question
lined up for you guys?
Sure.
So, Pikachu asked, do I need different rings for different classes?
You need different rings for different classes. Your rings will stay on each class that you play. So if you switch between your classes here, if I go back to the Ascension Atlas and I actually change classes to, say, the Berserker, for example, which I don't think I've progressed at all. But if I just switch to the Berserker, which is brand new for me, I haven't really done anything with the Berserker on this character, and then I go to my inventory or my equipment, you'll notice that I still have all the rings attached that I had previously, so those carry over, and as well as the enhancements as well. So those enhancements carry over as additionally. The thing, go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, it's a really great question. It's one of the sort of happy offshoots of our decision to go with a prestige system rather than a conventional leveling system, and allow characters to develop a lot of their stats and stuff independent of a particular set of outfit or gear or class, right? So as you're upgrading your rings, as you're getting drops, and you're adventuring, you got a great ring, or you buy a really rare ring, something super powerful, or maybe you pick rings, if you're like me, right? And you like high critical chance over all other things, so you're just, stacking luck, right? It sucks when that doesn't carry over if you change a class, right? So the rings and your enhancements to those, once again, that'll be playable. I think in the tech beta, that stuff was disabled. In the upcoming CBT, it'll be enabled, and you guys can see how that works. All that stuff is independent of your character. So, in Skyforge, you don't have that situation where as items drop, and you're picking the ones to get the stats you need, you're not looking like a hobo because that's the best gear, right? Your costume is a visual outfit. You can change it up however you want. And then the things you're getting your power from, right, those are going to be class independent, with the exception of 2 items, right? Your primary weapon and then a secondary object. Those will be class specific. So if you've got a really great Berserker sword, you're getting a lot of points from that item, and you go over to the Cryomancer, right, you're not going to see the same stat upgrades there.
Right. And
but overall, your prestige and the points on that will carry over. So, and here you can see, Mike's going to go in and do some customization of his character and get that look going on. And
yeah, you gotta bring out the classy look, just a little bit. You gotta put on. You see that they have the clothes here that are completely independent of your character progression. You can make your character look like whatever as long as you have the clothes or the outfits to match, and it doesn't affect your overall power level or progression at all. So you really have a lot of flexibility there. I mean, I can be in underwear if I want to, but I got a lot of different styles of outfits here, along with just looking like a badass from the get-go. So we didn't want you to look like, you were like a level 1 immortal. We wanted you to look amazing and like a god from the get-go. So, this is the starting Berserker outfit. This is how you look. So you look amazing to begin with, and then you just get a lot of other options for how you want to customize your character as you go forward. I saw a lot of questions dealing with the cash shop and what's going to be in it and subscriptions and all that. We're not yet talking about that, but you guys can stay tuned because we know that's important, and we are going to touch on that in the near future, dealing with cash shops and how you guys can expect to progress in that respect and what things you can pay money for. So just stay tuned for that, guys.
Yeah, I'm also seeing a lot of questions about guilds and how they're supported in Skyforge, and that's another topic that we're going to be talking about in the very close future, actually.
Yeah, very near future we'll be talking about how guilds work and how you'll be able to do the social aspect in Skyforge. Guys, have we been? I know we have like 5 keys or something left over.
I think we should have 6 keys left.
6 keys left. All right, so let's go ahead. If the moderators have 1 extra key from their lot, go ahead and drop that in chat. But we're going to go ahead and start doling out a couple of extra keys here because we've still got about 6 keys left to give out at this point. So
awesome.
Let's see. Let's look for really good questions here to give out some keys to.
Well, I've got 6 keys lined up. Or 6 questions, I mean.
Okay.
Actually 5, sorry, we just answered one of them. Eric, maybe you can take this one while Michael gives away a couple keys. So,
I will do my best.
How many classes are there?
So how many classes are there? Another good question. We've announced that we'll be launching with over 10 classes in the game. It's not a static number. We're continuing to add more classes as the game goes on. So 3 will be unlocked for players right from the get-go, right? You'll be able to play a DPS class, tanking class, and then one of our support classes. Switch between those, develop them out as much as you see fit. And then as you're progressing, right, you gradually unlock other classes, right? The Berserker you've seen, the Gunner, classes like that. That didn't sound good. You'd be able to unlock those classes, develop those out, maybe find something that suits you better or got a look you like better. Normally I love playing range classes. I really dig the Berserker, though. I love getting in there wailing on guys with that giant sword and spinning around doing all that crazy stuff. So I'm really loving that class. Love the look of it, right? So that's kind of my class of choice right now. Each of the classes has distinctive play mechanics, different combo mechanics, things like that. So you get a bit of different play experience. It's not just the same, the same keyboard sort of, I know how to roll my numbers, that sort of stuff. And, as Mike's already mentioned, you can switch between those at any time as long as you're out of combat, so if you run up against a mob where maybe you need some more support classes or just the group that you're playing with, hey, my support guy's not here this weekend, you can jump on over to a support class, play that for a group run, and then jump back to the one you prefer.
Cool. So Darkstalker, what is the max level, and what are some of the in-game activities?
Eric?
Sorry, say again?
So Darkstalker was asking, what is the max level, and what are some in-game activities?
All right, so once again, we don't really have max level. We do have a mathematically, theoretical max prestige, but because, it's an MMO and it's a game service, not just a game we put in a box, put on a shelf, cross our fingers, hope it goes well, we're going to be adding content, as we continue to go on, right? So to give you a firm answer, the biggest carrot that we're putting out there in terms of, something where players are going to feel like they've reached a big, I've kind of peaked over it, it's not really a traditional cap, would be, working towards unlocking your god form. As Mike said earlier, you're an immortal hero in this world. You're working to protect Aelon's inhabitants, right? You're gaining followers, building your own order, right? Which is adding to your power. About 30% of your power will eventually come from your order and your followers, right? Your management of that, your temples and all that stuff. And you're working towards becoming a god, right? So, initially, in addition to developing out the Ascension Atlas, upping your prestige, right? Your big carrot will be unlocking your god form, right? And that's not the end, right? That's just the beginning, right? You get a whole new level of the Ascension Atlas at that point, which is the development of your god form. You're going to have access to new high-end gameplay stuff like raids, territory wars, or pantheon wars, things like that, and a lot of other high-end activities. So, So kind of an answer without giving you a firm answer appears the cap.
There you go.
Awesome.
Drew, next question.
Next question is from Kingdonson, and he says, "Is there any temples that you can build with your since you a god and all?" So basically, what they're asking is, can you build temples since you're a god? And I think this is a good opportunity to talk about the followers and adepts.
Yep. Yeah. So the order system is something we've talked about a little bit in the past, and like I just mentioned, right, this is a third of your powers coming from your orders and your adepts, right? Your order is your followers, the mortals on Aelon that through your deeds have chosen to follow you. We'll actually get players a first look hands-on with that in the upcoming beta, so you'll be able to see what that's all about, right? As you gain more fame and notoriety and complete activities, you're going to get followers from those activities. Some of those special followers will be your adepts, and they're the followers that you can actually mentor and train up and send on missions and stuff like that. You know, as you unlock areas of the world, you're going to be able to place a temple in those areas for your order, right? And that's going to give you additional power and stats, and you're going to be able to have adepts who are associated with those temples. And there's an entire gameplay mechanic there.
There you go.
Cool. Well, two quick questions that are being asked by tons of different people. So, first and foremost, let's just get it out of the way. When can we expect the next beta?
Wow, I'm going to let you guys field that one. I'll say something I shouldn't.
Soon. Very soon. I know people say that a lot, but like, you guys, if it was any sooner, like if we could talk about it any sooner, it'd be too soon. So like, just stay tuned, guys. Like in the next, I don't know, soon. Yeah, in the next soon. Yeah. In the next soon.
At this point, but it won't be a long wait, for sure. Okay, and then the next question is, Eric, this one you'll probably be able to field. There's a lot of people asking about pets and mounts and similar style.
You know, again, this is something we're going to talk more about down the road. You know, it's something everybody's excited about. You know, we do plan to support mounts in the game. You know, we'll have details on those down the road. Vanity pets and something like that, you know, it's something that's near and dear to the Allods team. You know, they had a great race in Allods Online that had, you know, symbiotic race with the 3 creatures, and that was awesome. Created a bunch of technical challenges. You know, so pets aren't something we're talking about right now. You know, it's not something we're committed to, but it's something we're always experimenting with. They're a great deal of fun, you know, from a player's side. So...
There you go.
So yeah, I wish I could say more. Definitely something in the works. Definitely something as devs we love to put in. Something we'll talk about a bit down the road.
Someone mentioned it. Our items group or shared. So when you go in an instance, if you're going alone, you get all the items, of course. And as a group, you also get your own individual drops. So everybody, it's not shared loot. Everybody has their own individual loot that they can pick up outside of course, health orbs, which are shared between the groups. So if you're doing a group instance and you want to make sure to you know, appropriately give out the health orbs to those who need it, because we've had issues where someone needed it and someone picked it up with full HP, which resulted in that person dying. So that's one of the other questions I saw.
Yeah, sorry about that, Eric.
No problem. All right.
Okay.
All right.
I think we got time for. I got 4 more questions lined up, and that will bring us to the hour.
All right.
You want to just get through that?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. So Razor is asking, would there be any in-game world events where a large number of people would have to work hard to complete? So like big...
Yes and no. So one of the things, you know, we're really trying to do with Skyforge, and Michael mentioned it, I talked about it a bit earlier, you know, with the idea of the Divine Observatory, right? We have a good mix of both big open world zones where you're in the world with a lot of other players, and then instance content of various types and sizes for different players. Big open world zone events, right? You know, some of those are those big water cooler moments, right? Mr. Stitches, things like that. They're awesome and they're memorable, right? The Plague and WoW. But they can also be super disruptive, right? If you're getting in there and it's your only night a week that you're going to play the game, and you know everybody's dead because of some super hilarious bug that everybody's going to talk about for months and months, right? It can be a drag, or some big monster comes through the killing field you're trying to complete your quest for and tears you up. or a bunch of aliens land or whatever it is, right? It can be really disruptive, and it's not what you're looking for. So we do have big group activities, a lot of them, but they're not going to be in the open world where other people are simply, low-level characters trying to, finish their quests, get through the area, that type of stuff.
That being said, we still want things that are epic feeling and large scale in the sense that it involves a lot of players and cooperation between players. So there's still going to be that. We just, as Eric said, it's not going to be, you're not going to be like a level, 100 prestige, immortal just walking through a forest and suddenly there's a giant boss in there crushing your face. So it's not quite like that.
Yep.
All right.
Next question is, what happens when you die? Do you get a penalty or something like that?
No, death penalties, we try and keep them, it's already punishing to die. So, right, having a super significant death penalty is just not fun, right? we've already slapped your hand and said, oh, you weren't paying attention or something happened, you got wiped, right? Giving you a ton of death penalty, really punishing you further is not, it doesn't make for happy gamers. It doesn't really do anything for the game. So we keep our death penalty minimal. You can res pretty quickly and easily and get back into playing, which is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, short and sweet answer. Next question is, how many players will be able to participate in a raid at launch?
So right now we're designing 10-player raids. I want to keep it, a good, robust number. We'll be talking about raids in more detail in, I think about a couple weeks or a month from now. So get some more details out there, get you guys a look at it. But, that's kind of our sweet spot for early raids.
Early
content,
raids? Yeah. Sounds good.
And that's, that goes back to what you were saying before, Eric, is that we're going to be continually adding more content to the game post-launch, right? So,
exactly.
We could see some big epic raids come in, or some more of those 10-man raids, and it's really, we're going to be looking to the.
Yeah, and it's really, as developers, right? It's always challenging to find that sweet spot for something like that, a group activity. It's hard to get 10 people to do anything, right? Like if I'm trying to watch, Game of Thrones with my buds, getting 10 of them to show up at my house to just sit on the couch and eat my food and watch a show with any sort of regularity, that's hard, right? So getting people to coordinate, big 40-man raids and some of those big epic things, from the early days of MMOs, we're always working to make sure that stuff's accessible. People can get to the content they want, but you still have that group coordinated stuff. So we do have those big, epic group content stuff, but we don't want to block raids to people who just can't put together, a 20 or 40-man group right from the get-go.
Sure.
Awesome. And the final question that I got written down here is quite a quirky one. It's how many god forms does it give? So I think what they're trying to ask is how many god forms can you unlock, and maybe just give us an opportunity to talk about the gods themselves.
Yeah, so the god form stuff, something we showed off a bit, first look at it at Gamescom last year. Right now we've only showed the one god form. We certainly do have plans to develop and make available to players additional looks for their god. When they're in their god form, right? Everybody's kind of got their own feeling about what this super powerful, over-the-top personification of their avatar would be. That being said, we don't want to take it too far from the avatar you've been working on throughout the game, right? So, super short answer, just to clearly answer it. Today, we're committed to one god form that's an extension, a super over-the-top powerful look of your avatar, right? Whether you're male, female, that sort of stuff. Down the road, we are looking at extending that to have multiple looks for your god form, be something you can tailor and customize even more.
Cool.
And so we're about 4 minutes over the hour now, so I think we should wrap it up.
All right.
We're going to be doing a lot more of these, eh?
Yeah, we're going to be doing quite a number of these leading up to the closed beta, as well as during the closed beta. We're going to have a couple of community events live streamed during the closed beta, so you guys will be able to participate in some of like the 5-man instances with us, as well as some of the open world group content, and of course PvP. So you guys just make sure to stick it, Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, there we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Stay tuned to Skyforge. Not only on, of course, our official's website, but of course here on twitch.tv/official Skyforge. you can make sure to follow us on here for whatever we stream. And then, of course, you can always hit us up on Twitter and Facebook, official Skyforge there as well. And those will have all the latest updates for live stream and beta dates, as well as new reveals, including the Founders Packs and other ways that you guys can win keys. So definitely, guys, keep staying tuned to those portals. We're going to have a lot of information coming out on those, especially with the live streams and everything. But I really appreciate everybody coming.
Hey, Michael, I got one more question for you before we go. When are we going to upload this replay?
When are we going to upload this replay? We should have this replay up by Friday. We have another large reveal coming tomorrow, so we're going to be working on that today. And then Friday we should have the VOD up for those who didn't get a chance to see it all. It may be up sooner, but by the latest it should be up on Friday. So we'll have a post about that, and you guys will be able to check that out on our official YouTube page as well. And Rubber Duck just getting, just looking all awesome there with the, just getting aggressive there with the Berserker, just looking amazing.
Berserker, so,
all right.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's my range class, but I do dig that over the top look.
I gotta ask you guys. You guys want to go? You guys want to build a snowman? Do you want to build a snowman?
Nice. You get your snowball?
Yeah, no, I don't have my snowball yet on the Cryomancer. Unfortunately, I can't get the snowball going there.
Look, your snowman broke.
I know it's too warm with the Berserker and all the flames and everything.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody staying tuned for the live stream, and we'll check you out for the next time we come on. Until then, we'll see you later.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.